Welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. This is going to be a June reading for Sagittarius. So, I don't think there's, well, I was going to say I don't think there's too much going on for Sagittarian energy. Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, is in Pisces and is all month and goes retrograde on the 21st. And the south node is still Sagittarius. And the moon is in Sagittarius on the 23rd and 24th. And I think that's about it. There's some other stuff going on in Pisces that might affect Sagittarius. So the moon on the 1st to the 3rd and the 29th and 30th. And Neptune is also in Pisces and goes retrograde on the 26th. So because those things are also going to be in Pisces, it can have some effect on Sagittarius as well. There's with that solid and intense Neptune energy, it's still pulling things from the subconscious, stuff that's repressed, that people have tried to forget, and things like that. It's also something that retrogrades are doing. There's a lot of retrograde energy this month. The North Node in Gemini retrograde. Mercury's going retrograde. Or Mercury is retrograde, I should say, for most of the month. Saturn retrograde. And so on. So I lost where I was in that, but there's a lot of retrogrades. And, oh, I guess those aren't retrograde yet, okay. But yeah, the retrograde season is in full swing. And that can be dredging up some stuff too. In different kind of ways. Now the reading that I'm doing, I still can't tell if that's focused or not, is a 9-card grid of Lenormand. And it's a 10-card spread because I have an oracle card over here to get an overview for what the reading's going to be about. This is a reading that I offer. There's a list in the description box underneath, and then there's a playlist to go with it that has video samples, if you want to get one for yourself. I also do a 16-grid Lenormand, and there's a bunch of other reading spreads that I do as well. So this is from the Blessed Bee deck, which is kind of an oracle deck by Lucy Cavendish, and these are the Gilded Reverie Lenormand. So let's see what Sagittarius is getting into for June. Okay. Let's see this rust color here. Giving me those fire vibes. So a blessing of forgiveness, number 31, coming in inverted. Which could mean a confusion or delay, or could mean that we're not taking a reversal, or it could just mean that we're picking up on retrograde energies. So I'm going to leave it upright for now, but I'll leave it a little cockeyed so we know that it was in a slightly off position. So a blessing of forgiveness. This owl is looking pretty judgy here, though. Number 31. The Empress and the Magician. Okay. So there's an aspect. A blessing of forgiveness to me indicates more of oneself than other people. There's a thing that I had heard at some point that was some of the best advice that I've ever been given by somebody. I was talking about how I was frustrated because I couldn't forgive people for things that they'd put me through in the past. And this person said, I'm paraphrasing, they said, would those people know what you're forgiving them for? Like, would they have any comprehension that what they did was hurtful in some way? And it's like, if you go to somebody and you're like, I forgive you for this thing in particular, and they're like, well, that didn't happen, or I was doing the best that I could, or like whatever, psycho, you know, it might not even register that they did it, or that it's something that they should apologize for or need forgiveness for. And in that way, it doesn't make forgiveness this thing that you're indebted to someone else for. You're like, they did me wrong, and in order to free myself, now, on top of that, I am in error unless I come and bestow forgiveness upon them. And that can get yourself very tangled up. If you're like, well, if they don't even know what I'm forgiving them for, then I guess this bill is paid, like, ka-chink, stamp it, get it out the door, we're done with it. And if that frame of mind, if that frame set helps you relieve yourself of the forgiveness, that is an extremely useful tool. So the blessing of forgiveness can be for yourself too. Like, oh, I can't forgive myself if I am sucking at forgiving other people, right? Like, I'm a terrible person because I can't forgive. That inner criticism becomes, well, I can forgive myself now because I don't have to do this for other people. The debt is a wash. I don't have to keep putting myself out for that situation. So that's what this is making me think of, especially in the reverse here, like that. Alright, so let me just skim this. I haven't looked at any of these in the book in a long time, and I just feel like skimming books this month to refresh my memory a little bit. A blessing to be able to be free of the burden of grudges and vengeance. A prayer to help you open up to the blessing that is forgiveness. I think it's alright to still have anger at other people doing stuff to you, but this burden of grudges, it's like the act of having to forgive somebody becomes a curse and a grudge on it in its own right, which falls into what I was saying. When we seek to forgive, we must wrestle with the wrongdoing that lies at the heart of resistance to let go of the pain we are holding on to. When we need to forgive, it's often that we are too raw, too far away from justice to be able to even touch the sides of the balm of forgiveness. And that part about when you have to, when you tell yourself you must at all costs forgive, there's this rawness, this pain, this, like, I have been injusticed to, blocks the release, right? And the act of forgiveness itself doesn't have to be the release. It can be, I don't have to keep tying myself to them, like the forgiveness is the children I'm raising with my ex that I hate, you know? Like, the forgiveness itself ends up taking on, like, an animation. It becomes like a demon in its own right. It says staying angry for long periods of time can develop into a compacted bitterness. And bitterness is a gall to all who wish to live freely. And victim blaming. Great deal of victim blaming within our cultures. But if you blame yourself for being unable to forgive, that is kind of a form of victim blaming. Like, you know, it creates a barrier to a release. In this blessing, the justice and forgiveness will now begin to entwine, so that while you begin to forgive first yourself for whatever wrong was done to you, there's often an element of self-blame. And that can be like, well, somehow it must have been my fault that I was bad enough of a person to have this done to me. And even if, like, and that doesn't really help anybody, because you can just exist and people can do stuff to you. It's like, you didn't earn it, you didn't deserve it, it wasn't your fault, and now you can release yourself from the punishment of forgiveness community service. I must go out and forgive these people, and then I won't be on probation anymore. Like 200 hours of community forgiveness. Right? You don't have to go around with this karmic time punch clock. Like, how did I attract this? It must have been my energies that did this to me. And sometimes it's just, you sign up to learn a lesson, or you sign up because you're the a catalyst for somebody else who has to go through a lifetime where they're enacting dark energies. But to say like, oh, this is my fault, I brought this on myself because my chakras weren't aligned, or I stabbed somebody in the face in my previous lifetime, or you know, I forgot and put my elbows on the table when I was 2 because I was excited about cake. It doesn't mean you deserve to be punished emotionally, physically, or mentally, and then go through this scheme where not only is it your fault, but now they have no concept of wrongdoing, and you're put out because you have to go on this magnanimous tour of forgiveness. Self-forgiveness. Yeah, that's what that's really about. No, you will gently untangle the doubt and recriminations that have settled like thorns about your heart and invaded your mind's peace. As you begin to forgive yourself, you will also begin to find forgivenesses for the injustices you have endured. But it doesn't necessarily have to be for the other people, right? It's like, this act is terrible and I didn't deserve it, so therefore this act no longer is like an energy that no longer belongs to you. It doesn't mean you're going to forget it. It doesn't mean that you're not affected by it, but it means that it no longer can repeatedly injure you every single day for the rest of your life, as if it were an animatronic thing that has a timer on it, whether the ride is closed or not. In that forgiveness and acceptance and ability to know clearly that wrongdoing was done, you'll begin to return to yourself. You'll be wiser yet unpoisoned. That's what I was just talking about. The pain and the bitter buds wither slowly. In their place, you may be reborn. Honestly able to remember, wiser in order to prevent this taking place again. Able to recall without pain, right? Without that trauma trigger. The universe will deliver... Oh, the justice that the universe will deliver to you will be restorative. So it's really about self-transformation in a way where the scenarios and enactments are released from your system because you no longer feel bound to do something about it and to put yourself out and draw more energy out of your system to make it right. If the other person wanted you to forgive them, they would be able to come to you of their own volition and be like, hey, I just realized that all this shit I did to you 20 years ago was not okay. Like, I'm so sorry. And then you could be like, oh, well, yes, let's roll out the forgiveness ham here and have a feast. But in general, you shouldn't have to go chasing people down and shove their face in the forgiveness like a dog with a turd in the middle of the carpet. And I think that's the key to the release, right? You let it release out of your thoughts, your heart, your subconscious, and out of the cellular memory itself. And that way you can move on. So, apparently I was supposed to just really get into that particular card. So this is going to be slightly longer reading than the other ones, but let's flip these over and see what the details are hanging in. My eyeball's twitching. So we have 4, the house with the King of Cups on it. Sort of stability, 4 of Wands kind of energy there. But again, the stability, right? If you have some trauma coming up or in the past, your home might not feel secure. But we're trying to get to this logical balance of emotions, which is what the King of Cups represents. 4 of Wands, usually this is in, it doesn't have to be Wands, but 4 of Wands brings in this idea of setting up the cornerstones of a house to have something to build from. This house comes in here for me with sacral energy, which does give me a little bit of a Sagittarius vibe, but it's the feeling safe and secure so that you can creatively express yourself and move through with your visions. It's the fuel, it's the battery pack for the core, for the gut, for the self-identity. So we have the dice inverted. Low risk. We have a choice inverted, 22. Queen of Pentacles inverted. This comes in with major arcana energy for me. 39 can be the Empress, it can be the Hermit, or it can be the Hanged Man. Hanged Man inverted is giving me this Neptunian retrograde energy that we're going to be seeing this month. So it's pulling, it's no longer a risk to let the subconscious waters drain. right? 22 is double 11. 11 can be universal timing, right? It's like double time, retrograde. The choice is made to move on, right? I no longer have to keep hopping from one foot to the other, trying to figure out if I'm supposed to, if I, like, which energy belongs to me. This is actually pretty good to see right here. Sarcophagus, number 8. 9 of Pentacles. This has to do with healing. It's like resurrecting the body. I'm steaming the pain out of my muscle, cellular, nervous system memory, as if I were ironing a suit, right? I'm just pressing it out of me. I'm going to skim that in the book, though, but I'll come back to that when I get these flipped over. So we have the birch, 11. So we got 22, and now I have 11 here. The birches. Jack of Wands. Could be a... I think it is going to be a page here instead of the knight. This is a little bit Almond Brother. I think it's Almond. Tied to the whipping post. And we have the time here. Universal timing coming in with all these clocks here. This is an owl here. I know it's hard to see, but this owl here looks like the same breed as this one. The same breed, the same species. They breed the wild owls. So we have all these different means of time. With a major arcana energy, 3, Empress, 7, the Chariot, together 10, the Wheel, which is Sagittarian energy. All these clocks are different wheels. Everything, the gears are turning. The worm is turning. Universal timing is on to go. 8 can be indicative of strength or justice if we're taking that up to the major arcana. There's this... If it's tied to Pentacles, we have a lot of work going on, and then we're seeing some returns here, finally. The Moon inverted. This keeps popping up over and over again in these readings. 8 of Cups inverted. 32. The Tree inverted. 7 of Cups inverted. Number 5. This could be ancestral trauma. It could be past life trauma. It could be previously, earlier in this life trauma. 7 of Cups is this sort of... people say it's options, but I see it as distractions, entanglement. 8 of Cups is that walking away from what doesn't serve you. With it inverted, it might mean I'm not walking away. But I see these 15 Cups here, and it's like... well, I'm not walking away from them because I'm actually going to grind them into sand. 15 inverted cups right here is devil energy. But it's inverted. I'm breaking these emotional ties to this past energy that wanted to outshine everything else that I've been trying to do with my life. The Letter, 27 with the 7 of Swords. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. 7 of Swords energy. Is that in Aquarius? Mercury? No, it's traditionally the Moon in Aquarius, but I've reassigned it Pluto energy, which again I said is retrograde. Saturn, the devil, is retrograde in Aquarius, coming in on this line here. I feel like sometimes this letter in this deck has a negative connotation. I just started to lay it on the line. Is that Triumph? Is that who sings that? This is like an official, I have forgiven you letter. It's like if forgiveness was doled out. Or it's like, you have done your forgiveness community service and you are now you have met the requirements of the court and you will not have to go to jail or any of that stuff. But it's like, don't, if you want to forgive somebody and you can't, it's one of those things like if you're really pissed off at somebody, you write them a letter and then burn it. Don't actually send it. But I'm going to skim this because I think there's some other aspect that's going to come out here too. But the Seven of Swords is usually that like sneaky theft energy, and it's coming in upright even though I'm clocking it with a retrograde energy. So let me skim these a little bit. Let's start with the sarcophagus here. Oh, it's called coffin. God damn it, I knew it was a coffin too because it's wood. Painful change and transition. Depression, loss, bankruptcy, sickness, bed rest, endings, and death. Initiation. Final reckoning of... Oh, yeah, here we go. This guy right here with Anubis. The coffin, although traditionally seen as an ending or finality, is also symbolic of an initiation that brings a final reckoning of our life purpose. And that's kind of where I was heading with this, because when your energy is no longer directed towards this past clusterfuck, this 4 of this house where the sacral energy is allowed to flow brings this emotional balance where you're now free to pursue the things that interest you that you may have been afraid to do in the past. That sacral energy of, you know, I'm rolling out my ideas, I feel safe, and now I'm finally gearing up to give myself the energy to get into my core soul purpose. Who am I? Oh, it says it's a sarcophagus here. The weighing of the heart. Again, so it's like if someone else did something to you, you shouldn't weigh it on your heart that unless you forgive them, now it's still your fault. That's on them. That's in their energy field. Let go of it. Don't make that one of your choices. Don't let it keep beating you down, basically. Let me read the birches again. Temper, conflict, and strife. Repetitive arguments, quarrels. This is this guy right here. Discord and anger. Stressful. So it's situation extremely stressful, but it's time to flip that script. So the crack of the whip will either be exerted by you or against you. With it upright here in the middle, it says, in its most positive sense, we have here a card calling us to bring our forces and attention together, to get focused, to get all our ducks in a row. It's a having your ducks in a row can be another way of saying alignment, healing. I'm going to have all my little cellular energies flowing in one direction instead of having these toxic engrams blocking up my whole flow, my whole system. I don't need a heart attack from this. So I'm gonna get this letter here because there's something else I wanna explore that one just a little bit more. Oh, that's time. I need the letter. It's 27. 27. 7 minutes. Okay. I got the time. Information. Invoice certificate. An invoice could be like an IOU, right? It's like I have to pay this forgiveness invoice, or the interest will keep increasing till I can't even pay off the premium each month. The letter indicates a communication that may not yet be with us, a slower form of transmission requiring, I don't know why I can't talk, requiring patience to make a connection. I'm extremely literate, but apparently my mouth disagrees with me this week. I'm 38, but I read at a 42-year-old level. It might be an acknowledgement. But I think here, it's like the letter is saying maybe I'm getting a cosmic download, but it's really slow, right? Think of a cosmic download, but on a modem, and someone keeps trying to make a phone call, and it only does like 400 kilobytes per minute or something. So this thing is like scree, 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 with this like dying robot sound coming in, and the picture is coming in. It's like, somebody messaged you a JPEG that you have to print out, and it's 1994, and it's taking an hour and a half, and it takes forever for this cosmic download to come out on the printout. And what it is an acknowledgement that you're sort of taking control over a sort of mental abuse cycle where you've been bound emotionally to it's like having an emotional leech on you. It's like the other person may have thrown you into the leech pond, but it didn't occur to you that you can just pull the leech off and be like, whatever. The self-forgiveness says, hang on a minute. Let me get these little suckers off of here and toss them out into the swamp, because I don't have to keep carrying them with me. This is the acknowledgement, and what it is a diagram of how to pull leeches off of you to get rid of the drain that the situation has caused. You're not responsible for maintaining the link up to the baggage that is an energy thread all the way to the other person, who is either refusal to acknowledge that they may need to be forgiven, or that it even is a thing. So that's what it is. I think that's enough. I mean, I'm kind of tired of talking. I feel like I've gone over it a lot, so I'm not being curt about that either. I have a stellium, so this reading is probably for me too. If you'd like to get a personal reading, you can check out the list of readings in the description box underneath this video. I got my little crusty website over here on WordPress that has the same list of readings with a green background and little chip images of the spreads, or you can see the readings in action in my readings for sale playlist. And I do a Lenormand 9 grid or a 16 grid. Each of those has a little oracle card with it, and then I have a bunch of other readings too. If you'd like to help keep my channel chunking along, you can donate, energy exchange, hit that tip jar, PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. But if you'd like to have stuff for throwing money at me, I've got coloring books, dark poetry, merch, prints, actual art items. There's a coupon code here for Etsy, 3star17. If you get 3 or more items, you get 17% off. I've got some social media. I've got my email here. All of these things on this page are through the link tree, linktr.ee/CATtheMinion. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, check out my playlists tab, my discussion tab, and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye.